Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles.
Are we not live yet?
Oh, yo, we are absolutely live. Yeah. I saw. Yeah, Twitch is going.
Oh, yes, we
YouTube is
are.
going.
Yes, we are.
And
what's up, everybody?
And my apologies for folks who might have heard that very loud sound effects, but I forgot to put sound effect. I mean, I forgot to put a limiter on this thing. But anyway, hello. This is the Comic Book Chronicles. Welcome to the show. I just threw myself off, so it's going to start off a little bumpy here for a second. I am your host, Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter. You can find me at News Nerds Need on Twitter. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. And you can also find me at Roddykat on Blue Sky.
South Carolina with Columbia down the way.
That's better. And the sound effects you've heard come from none other than our man in Brooklyn, @agent_70 on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads.
What's up, everybody? Co-hosting from the borough of Kings. We're back live and direct.
Straight from Brooklyn, better known as Brooklyn.
I'm just a kid from Brooklyn.
Yes, folks, two different versions of the same sample. You gotta love it. Also love Crook and Dodgers, so it's all good. But yeah, folks, this is the Comic Book Chronicles, and you can find us on the Cold Slither Podcast Network. That's cspn.us.
Do it today.
You can also find this on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Cold Slither Podcast Network SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that helps people find our show.
Indeed. Well, folks, this is how we're going to start off the show. We're going to recap, or not recap, excuse me. We are going to, give you a little bit of an update on our time with Marvel Cosmic Invasion, because it's a great game and people should be playing it, especially if you love beat 'em ups. So here we go.
Right. So the big news, relatively big news, is that Roddykat and I were able to play Marvel's Cosmic Invasion via party mode and, crossing the platforms, not crossing the streams, but crossing the platforms, where Roddykat is on one platform and I'm on a completely different platform playing the same game. And we were able to link up and team up in this game, which was awesome. It's such a great experience because it definitely helps with the gameplay, because beat 'em ups were almost intentionally designed to be played together. And while we can't, we're geographically very distant from each other, we can get together in this game and play and be on the same board as if we were standing next to each other with buttons and joysticks and quarters to spare.
Right.
And
right.
we would need it because we were, let's just say, we've had an opportunity to play the game. And I'll hand this off to Roddykat by saying this. We were definitely using some of the older tricks of the trade to get to where we got to, which is a fairly advanced stage of the game. And then we got our butts handed to us.
Yep. And
with that, I'll hand it off to Roddykat.
Yes, and you could see that shellacking on twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles. I might need to edit it a little bit, because I know there was a part of it that that we were kind of messing around with settings and trying to get our audio straight. But
right.
If I can do that, it might find its way up on YouTube at some point. I know I'm still trying to figure out that part, because I don't necessarily want to I kind of want to put it on as a separate page for the Comic Book Chronicles stuff. But we'll see. That's like I said, that's just some behind the scenes stuff, just for our extra stuff that like here's some stuff we're playing and outside of the podcast. And if by some reason we could get the podcast on the page, all the reason. But we'll see. Like working that out.
Sure.
But yes, but the more specific thing about what Agent 70 has just said wasn't the fact that we could play it for folks were like, no, we could just do that. It's the cross play part of it that makes it even better, because he's playing on, like you said, he's playing on PS5 and I'm playing on PlayStation. So if we had the same, if we were on the same platform, that would have been a different story. But I say all of that to say this: more games need more cross-platform. Period. Because there's been reasons why a lot of it's money and stupid shit, but crossplay just makes everything that much better, because people could play, people who play on different platforms can just play, and especially if they implement it, easy enough to get into. Sometimes the crossplay implementation doesn't always work out right, because you got to kind of jump through hoops, and that's only because of the way that they had to do it. But if it's done right, like this one's done fairly well, I can think of other examples where it's probably slightly better, but this is a smaller budgeted game also, so you kind of gotta you gotta cut them a little bit of slack for that. But like I said, all of that just makes it that much smoother to play, and the netcode seems to be pretty good, because we didn't have any kind of dips or anything, so that's the other part of it. Which netcode is probably more for fighting game stuff than not, but nevertheless, still, the back end of it still matters. So
no, absolutely, and it all operated pretty smoothly, and it just took Roddykat and I were joking about how I needed to reboot the game, because they must have just issued an update that automatically started party play working.
Mm-hmm.
Where it wasn't exactly working with my initial install of the game. Right. So once I rebooted, once the previously installed updates finally kind of took hold, everything worked fine. So for anyone out there who has just uploaded or just downloaded the game, make sure that you are playing with the latest updates, and make sure that is all up to speed, and just reboot the game. Restart the game or reboot your PlayStation, and you should be good to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and I do remember they did push something out like earlier before we started, but I don't know what it was, because I didn't look at any kind of notes or anything. Sometimes they just be pushing stuff for whatever X, Y, and Z reasons. I'm like, I don't know, it might be a little bit of thing you might not even see, but they pushed an update to it, depending on the game. So, but I went ahead and that was an update that was just going to happen anyway, because a lot of times, if your console or PC does right, then it's just going to automatically do its thing, before you get to it. But sometimes it doesn't always happen that way. So yes.
It's still essentially a computer, folks. So every once in a while, you just got to reboot the silly thing.
'Tis true. So, but that being said, like I said, Marvel Cosmic Invasions continues to be a great game. We both found ourselves, as we were talking prior to the show, talking about us going back and going through former levels, which a game is designed to do for reasons.
Right. Leveling up, grinding, and more.
Yeah, or trying to do the challenges and get more of the little stuff, so you can unlock more stuff, etc. All of that stuff happens. So game is doing as intention, and is not boring. So that's all you can ask for a game like that.
And you're still kind of learning, lots of the different moves, because it's not just attack, jump together. There's, believe it or not, some dash moves that you can do, and that are kind of specialized between certain characters, or all the characters. They all do different things, with the combinations. Right. And I still, and I mentioned this last week, I still get a kick out of the copying is it seems like it's too harsh a term. Lifted, mimicked, the sprites look like they're basically, copied straight from Marvel versus Capcom, right? And to see, some of the gameplay elements for many of these characters put into Cosmic Invasion, taken from various versions of Marvel versus Capcom or just the Capcom-based games, is still fun. Like, just seeing what Wolverine can do, seeing what Storm can do, seeing what Captain America can do. And I have to circle back and level up Cap some more, because I discovered a couple cool different things that he does. I joked with Roddykat that I learned how to spam a certain move that Beta Ray Bill does, and when we were playing together, that's all I did, and it was glorious. I was clearing. I basically cleared like 3/4 of the back in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beta Ray Bill specifically, I really love the fact that you could just throw Storm Hammer out there and it just kind of stays in place until you run out of stamina or energy, whatever the case may be. Because if you throw that Joker in the right spot and you just juggle folks, and it's glorious.
Yeah. Or you can just call it back by hitting the Y button.
Yeah. So, but that part, because I specifically use that, and I think I might have mentioned last week, I can't remember now, but I know in a solo playthrough, there's a level where you're on the shield helicarrier, and there's some gun emplacements there. So I was like, okay, cool. Throw Stormbreaker at the gun, just let it shoot. Shoot anything that's coming.
I gotta try that. Yeah.
Oh, it's cool. Yeah, and then you just go around and until it comes back into you, and you just clean up on anything else that's not coming in the other in that direction or whatever the case may be.
That's very fun. That's
cool. Things like that you kind of come across. And like Agent 7 said, there's little things, and there are some stuff like, yes, even though the moveset realistically is not that big, but the stuff you can kind of string together with those just is kind of what makes it what it does. And again, any true beat 'em up is kind of like that.
Sure.
So,
I mean, listen, Iron Man has whatchamacallit?
Unibeam?
No, not Unibeam.
He kind of does, but
no, he has a proton cannon.
Yes.
That's straight out of Marvel vs. Capcom. Straight out of Marvel vs. Capcom.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Cap's dash also. Like I said, their inspiration is right there on the sleeves. Which also, actually, I will talk about something else in a second along those lines as well. But yeah, if again, like I said, we're not getting paid to say this. We're just like, you know what? We just love.
We're just enjoying it, right? Because
yes.
we each have our own favorite characters to start playing, right? Like, we gravitate towards certain characters.
Of course.
Sometimes it's just the way it works. Roddykat introduced me to Cosmic Ghost Rider's gameplay, and I decided to pick him up after we played. I was like, oh, this is a really kind of an OP character.
Mm-hmm.
He's really laying waste to a bunch of these minions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who'd have thunk it?
I mean, he may not be an active Herald of Galactus at this point, but
right.
He's pretty powerful on his own.
Yeah. But I say this as I've said before. It was like, it's still, despite the name of the game, Cosmic Ghost Rider is still a weird ass pick for them to do, but also it makes a whole lot of sense.
Yes. yes.
So, and I hope, like I said, we were talking about this while we were playing or whatnot, or separately probably, but like I do hope there is some DLC planned. I hadn't seen anything, that's going to throw some more characters in there, because I know who I would want to see in there, and there'll be like parallels to the existing roster. But yeah, there's ways they could go with that if they choose to do that. There's jokers they could add that's not gonna fully break the game either. So, and they seem to be doing right by it with how they're doing things. Which, again, like I said before, I trust that company pretty decently, or I trust that development team with that, because so far they still have not done much wrong or anything wrong. So they have gotten they're in their bag, and they're continuing to do that, and I appreciate and I love that. Tribute games, good shit. And Dottie Mew, because even on their own they do some good stuff. But anyway, enough gushing about Marvel Cosmic Invasion. I'm sure we will probably talk about it again, and probably even get some more gameplay in at a certain point. But before we go into the books, real quick, I want to talk about the Marvel Tokon Souls fighting the closed beta that was just this past week, or last week, excuse me. So, Marvel's fighting Tokon's Fighting Souls, fighting game. It is. So here's the thing that's funny about it. If you've seen it, you will quickly say it looks like Marvel versus Capcom, and it does. And you might even, if you get your hands on it in certain respects, you might say it plays like Marvel versus Capcom, and in respects it does. However, they are definitely trying to do some things. There's a couple of different spins on it that's not that, because I've played it myself, and I've seen people playing it, and I've seen some people liking it to MVC, or let me phrase that, grouse about it because it's not more like Marvel versus
exactly
Capcom,
like
right?
Capcom, right.
So, and I was like, whatever, man, just one, enjoy the game, and two, they're not trying to be that. And I get that. Like, I can see the vision too, because like I said, it's a 4v4 tag battle, whereas Marvel's 3. So simulator is still there, whatever. It's still a tag fighter. It's made by Arc System Works, who does usually anime fighters, good anime fighters, but, some folks might remember them from, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, which is another good game by them, and also licensed. So, also a tag battler. But with the characters they had in there, and I'm still waiting for we still don't have a full roster over that, and I'm still waiting for them to be like, hey, we're who else they announced for this, because there's definitely going to be some parallels and some counters to the roster that is already out there. But during the closed beta, you got to play with Cap, who's really great. I told Age of 70 about that. I kind of wish he had gotten in so he could play with him. Wolverine, Storm, She-Hulk. No, not She-Hulk. She-Hulk is Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Miss Marvel, Spider-Man, of course. And there was like one other character I can't remember. Oh, Ghost Rider, Robin Reyes. So, it was good. Like, so you have to choose your team before you basically choose them in position. So when you could either tag them in for an attack or whatever, just like other games of the like, or you could tag them in, permanent. The difference is you have one shared, health bar as opposed to the 2 or 3 that you would have in NBC. So, and it's phrased good. The net code kind of has some spots, but again, it was a beta test. That's why they had the beta test, because they could test that all out. Outside of that, played good. Like, I am not a great fighting game character. I do enjoy them. This one so far seems fairly easy for someone to get into, much like Dragon Ball Fighter Z, if you've played that, because there are combos where you could just one button hit, which pissed off a lot of more in the scene fighting games fans because of that. And it's like, y'all need to just chill. Like, people trying to get in here and have fun, just like y'all does. But of course, there's that get good mentality of it. So right. I would say that, just to kind of to recap, just kind of to send it home. When the game comes out, I will definitely be playing it. I don't know about Age of 70, but it sounds like he might be gearing up, because we've already talked before the show about him gearing up in other ways for things.
Sure.
So,
like, I really want to take advantage of the fighting games that I have, like Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8. Mm-hmm. And I really haven't given them a fair shot on my PS5. And, I kind of want to get a fight stick. Mm-hmm. So, just so I can really kind of like immerse myself in that particular style of game, because that's what I really enjoyed playing in the arcades or in the back of bodegas.
Right.
I mean, I should have been in class, but
Wait, did you get Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection or no?
I was never a big Mortal Kombat person.
Right. Okay. Right.
Because
but you did get that. But you did get the Street Fighter collection. I do remember the arcade
Yes.
collection. I do remember that. Yeah.
Yes. I have the MVC arcade collection, and I got
Right.
Street Fighter 6, which is wild to me because that new Street Fighter just looks so different. So
Yes.
I feel like I would enjoy it more if I had a fight stick, because then I
Eh,
would really feel like I was in like at an arcade machine.
Right, and in some ways plays a little different also, but they have also with the addition of characters and adding other characters and doing some stuff, they've smoothed that out. It's much better than Street Fighter Five. I'm sure a lot of people will say,
Mm,
and me because that Street Fighter Five came out rough.
mm.
Um, but yeah, so stay tuned for continuing adventures of Age of 70 getting getting not only heavier into gaming, but back into the fighting, well, into the fighting game. Well, back into the fighting game since he just
Right.
say it was on in the arcade. So we'll see how that works out. Maybe we could get him into some Injustice. I don't know. We'll see.
I played Injustice on the PS3,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
so
There's been
it's
rumblings of Injustice 3. I don't know if that's actually going to happen though.
back in the day.
Yeah. So, but anyway, folks, we still don't have a date for Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, but we kind of do. We know like next year, probably springish, February, March I think is what was last landed on, if I'm not mistaken, or because I don't think they pushed that one. Either way, more information as comes out. Hopefully there will be, because this was the second closed beta and they had one and back in September. There may or may not be another one. There'll probably be another one closer to launch, I would assume, but I don't know that for certain, or just for whatever, more testing. So we'll just see. But now, though, we are going to. Actually, I meant to stream that and I didn't because I was like, what, it was late. So, and plus, like I said, I am not good at fighting games. So seeing me flail around, having fun, mind you, but flail around, in the game would not be fun to watch, or would not be fun for me to stream, I don't think. But it will probably happen at some point. But anyway, we are going to move quickly over into the books of the week. Starting off with Transformers, number 27.
Transformers number 27, published by Image, is written by Robert Kirkman, with art by Dan Mora, with colors by Mike Spicer, and letters by Russ Wooton. So, what's the meme that's taken from SpongeBob SquarePants? 2 months later.
Oh yeah. I also used
That's a
that in the editing of the video from last week.
Right. So essentially, we kind of get some of that here, where Roddykat and I were discussing this in our pre-production meeting, where it's obviously meant to imply that some time has passed since the previous issue, to kind of establish that this is like we're kind of like a couple of steps in the future and a couple of steps towards where the new status quo is, with the Autobots having gained some measure of an advantage, as well as kind of teaming up with the humans, right? The humans. And that's really where we are in this issue. We have a change of allegiance, and I'll hand it off to Roddykat with this, that is actually processed, right? There's an actual process to this change of allegiance. It's not just, hey, I'm with y'all now, they shot me in the back, so I'm, like, screw them. That's not exactly what happens here. What we have is like a little bit of reasoning, soul searching behind this particular change of heart. And lastly, we have what seems to be the beginnings of the formation of Mask. And with that, I hand it off to Roddykat.
Yep. So I told Age of 7 that I was going to mention this, and this is a slight spoiler for anybody out there, but you're going to see this page 1 when you open the issue, should you read it. Why did they have Bumblebee's body just still laying out there after all of this time? And which is the first thing you see. And, and as Age of 70 reasoned out, when we were talking about it, the show was like, it's probably leading up to something that's going to happen with that the husk.
Right.
But also, as I said in my notes, I was like, you know what, that is probably a thing that Kirkman kind of wanted, that asked Daniel Warren Johnson to do. Just go ahead and kill that character off, and maybe, you know, and we'll see if we'll do something now. Because let's face it, Bumblebee was the most popular character, or for some reason the most popular, because that's why they kept using him in subsequent
Right. He was basically
Transformers.
like a secondary or primary lead. You know, after and or with Optimus.
Right.
Just,
And was in certain cartoons.
Sure. I just wanted to interject and remind Roddykat there's this one character that I had not really encountered ever, and they play up a particular aspect of this character's personality.
Yes.
In this issue.
Yes. So we'll get to that in one quick second. So as Agent 70 said, you know, some time has passed, which kind of threw me for a second, because I was like, wait, where did these characters even come from? And then it started clicking. I was like, oh right, so they actually got some rebuilding done, and so some characters show up. G1 favorite character, so yay. And the character that Agent 70 just mentioned also happens to show up in a fashion who comes from not G1, but from a later animated Transformers, specifically Transformers Animated, which is the name of the show. And like I said, only because of the fact we did some research on it, knew who that was. And as I told Agent 70, yeah, the other bots' reaction to how they came in, and them finally getting reading the room.
Failing to read the room.
Well, yeah, first failing to read the room, but finally starting to get it. But the other bots' reaction to them when that happened was absolutely my reaction to them. So I was like, okay, you know what? Get him out of here. Actually, I can't remember. I don't remember, because I know they actually introduced a couple of female bots, and possibly in that show, and I can't remember if that's one of them or not. But regardless. So a couple of other things happened, like Agent 70 said, you know, we got a little bit more mask teases, which is cool, including a nice little, let's just say, tete-a-tete between General Flag from G.I. Joe and a certain, soon to be definitely showing his villainous colors mask character in this particular, and even with a name drop of another mask character whom we have seen, not necessarily in pages of this book, but in the Energon universe, and apparently setting up the little bit of not necessarily rivalry. It's just all out beef, I guess, with that character, almost like a Reed Richards Doom situation. Honestly, is kind of how it read, which was kind of funny. But you know, like I said, if you read this issue, you might get that. But yeah, a few things happen in here. In here, I won't go through everything because I don't want to give it away. But like I said, you know, some characters kind of come in. Prime does counsel I guess now former Decepticon in the ranks, and he gets his insignia. So, which is usually the true sign of an allegiance change in the Transformers universe. Because sometimes they'll be like, "Yeah, I'm with y'all," and then it don't happen. It also doesn't mean that what I'm still thinking is the case, in that, yeah, he might be an Autobot now, but that doesn't mean his allegiance is not going to switch back at some point. And you have to feeling it probably will. But you know, he's gonna do his stint here, or maybe not. This could be another defining change of the Energon universe. Because the Joker that they bring into their ranks is never not been off the side of the Decepticons with his brothers. So, you know, we'll see how that works. Also, might be talking about some, you know, we see a few people chat, like RC and Carly, who might be, you know, getting some things going on. But also Ultra Magnus and RC, who, you know, Ultra Magnus has had a couple of notable chats in this particular issue. One of which, you know, the person he was talking to had some real gusto, or some real guts, given where that person was in relation to Ultra Magnus. So, but yeah, some things happen, and then we even get a nice little cut for a thing that happens that is going on Cybertron at the end, including not necessarily a reintroduction, but a Decepticon who, may have had someone that I just mentioned very, very shook when they're in their time together. So the only person that doesn't show up is the person that is on the cover. And if you're watching the video version, you can see who that person is, or who that Cybertronian is. So yeah, lots happening in Transformers. It's potential click of the week for me because of the things that's happening, and I think there's even a couple of things that I didn't even mention, which that's fine because, like I said, don't want to spoil the whole thing. But it was a good read this week. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a good read. I read a lot of good books this week, so I also will throw Transformers number 27 into the pot as a candidate for Click of the Week.
Nice. As we moved on to another book of the week, let's see, which is them boys, the heroes in the half shell. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 13. The Jin Yuen Yang era has begun.
Yes, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2024 number 13 is published by IDW. It's written by Jean Luen Yang with art by Freddie E. Williams II. Colors are by Andrew Dahlhaus, and letters are by Sean Lee. So this is the start of a new arc. Again, just like Transformers, 2 months later, because it seems like the Turtles are back in the saddle together. Obviously, they're still going to be pushing the boundaries with each other, and they're pushing each other and needling each other and kind of getting on each other's nerves, but they are in a relatively familiar dynamic where they're working together, right? And a new character is introduced who may be related or specifically connected to an older character who has just come back, right? Yes. This is the big twist in Jean Luen Yang's first issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's a new, or at least a different setting in that they are running around in Chinatown or in areas in and surrounding Chinatown in the Turtles version of New York City. And they're dealing with, that particular cultural melting pot and, kind of bringing themselves together with, that corner of the culture. So, that part is a little different for Turtles fans, but still, if you're going to put some, get some martial arts action in, that kind of, just kind of makes sense. And bottom line here is we also get the return of a longtime enemy who is not a bug at this point. That's a mild spoiler.
Yes, and I had questions about that, but
right. Listen, I've not been reading it that closely or previous volumes that closely to understand. So that's why I put it that way to avoid any kind of spoilers, but at least hint at who I'm referring to. Right. And with that, I'll put it off to Roddykat.
Yeah, that part right there was like, wait a minute. That character is definitely known more for being insect related. So maybe that's something that changed in the last volume. Again, like I just said, neither one of us read that, so it is what it is. But it kind of may not matter, given what happens to the character in this particular issue without spoiling it. But yeah, and as going off of something Agent 70 said, yes, while they are in a new setting that's probably not that familiar for Turtles fans, it is definitely probably more familiar to Jean Luen Yang fans, I suspect, because I have not read too much that he has written that doesn't rightfully and makes sense have any kind of Chinese leaning references to it.
Right. Yeah. Certain contexts are
Yes.
definitely involved.
So, which is cool to see, honestly. So, if you got the platform, you might as well use it. So, and of course, if you are familiar with Freddie E. Williams the second's art, you know that he has a style that works in ways. So, with the introduction of that new character, it which also seems to have some origin. I don't know if it's origin in Chinese mythology or anything. At that part, I'd have to look up, but it seems to definitely have some references therein. There is that, and we'll see definitely how, what happens with the character and I assume, well, I guess we are technically kind of already saw how it's related to, as Agent 70, a character that has been newly resurrected. I guess almost in like a Jekyll and Hyde type situation, if you want to go that route. But I suspect we will see some more that goes on with it, and it almost pretty much seems that one of the Turtle Boys, which actually kind of makes sense given who it is, and in terms of what's been going on in the last volume, might be more in tune with that character than he realizes. Put it that way. So again, like I said, going forward, we will see what's going on with that, because I'm sure there will be some, there will be some revelations to be had for certain for the boys, and probably for us also, the readers. So yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, another good read. That being said, we'll continue to see what's going on with this book.
Definitely a good read and a good start to a new arc.
Indeed. Next up, we're gonna go to the Marvel corner. I guess that's where we will stay with Nova Centurion #2.
Nova Centurion #2 is written by Jed MacKay, with art by Alvaro Lopez and Matteo Della Fonte, with colors by Mattia Iacono and letters by VC's Corey Petit. So we literally pick up right where we left off in the previous issue, where we have the return of one character that played a big part in a certain part of Richard Rider's history, and the teased return of a big bad from Annihilation, from the Annihilation era of the character story of Richard Rider's story, right? And all of these stories have kind of come full circle, where we have the what is it, the combat accountant, which makes me laugh.
Yes,
this idea of it, the combat accountant. And there's a new character here that was introduced in this issue. I believe it's introduced in she's introduced in this issue, who is heretofore unknown accuser.
Okay.
I don't remember about that. Right. I don't remember this accuser being in the first issue.
Right.
So I think they introduced this character in this issue, and now there's a dynamic here, which the combat accountant kind of touches upon, which is very funny. Yes. where he talks about an affinity that Richard Rider has for dangerous women.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a kick out of that,
and it was on point, honestly, from what we know of Richard Rider's history.
It was. And I like this issue because it definitely, to me, it reverts to a particular dynamic, because for the longest time they really hadn't used the world mind. And I always liked this dynamic of Richard and the world mind kind of playing off each other with like a supercomputer, and basically the collected knowledge of this entire civilization, and this kind of slightly smarter than average Earth person, right, who ends up becoming a space cop, right? I like that combination, because the world mind is like, hey man, you need to relax. you need to get your, you need to get yourself straightened out here, or you're going to run into some issues. And that's a dynamic that has kind of reemerged now that the world mind is, itself reemerged in the story. So I'm happy to see that, and I like the uh, the cliffhanger ending for this issue, because it makes all the sense in the world that
Hmm.
this would be how uh, uh, peril basically befalls Richard and the world mind at the end of this issue.
Yep, 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 yep. Everything the world mind was hoping wasn't going to happen pretty much
Right.
happens at the end. So, but yeah, I agree with that. Just about that, the whole dynamic. It's been a while since we've seen it. It is kind of funny because we do still get a slightly different side to Richard Rider, um, in look specifically. Also as well as like I said, normally we would see him just mostly in suit, and we see him outside of that, and him. I guess more personality is showing outside of the suit, or
Right.
as much outside of the suit as him within it. So they realized that. I did like one line in this where World Mind was asking him, was like, are you basically was like, are you cool? He was like, not less so, but I'm more tactically aware now.
Right.
She was like, because it was like, yeah, he just kind of ran in there for a second, like going back to some old Nova business, which granted is Richard Rider, so he's not changed that much, but but in this
Right.
case,
And it's
he's like,
funny that, yeah, I was about to say, it's,
go
oh
ahead.
no,
No,
finish
go
your
ahead,
thought.
go ahead.
No, it's funny that we were talking about, we started the show talking about video games, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
Nova is a playable character in Marvel Cosmic Invasion. He's
Mm-hmm.
literally the character you start playing with
He's the
to
training
train,
character, yeah.
right, to train yourself on the buttons and the way the game mechanic works. And then I recall that Nova was a character in Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of cool to see the character kind of come front and center,
Right.
and kind of take I'm happy that Marvel Cosmic is getting a little bit of a push, right? Kind of post Guardians in a sense. Like
Mm.
we've got Guardians characters related to the Guardians kind of popping up separately in different corners of the Marvel universe and different corners of the Marvel Cosmic universe.
Right.
But it's good to see Nova kind of establish himself as one of the pillars of Marvel Cosmic. Hopefully, we'll see a version of the Silver Surfer come back. We just saw the death of the Silver Surfer, and possibly the emergence of a replacement, but probably just another character carrying that mantle.
Mm.
Maybe not a replacement, but we'll see. It's like I said, like the bottom line for me is that it's good to see Nova being a pillar of this part of the Marvel universe.
Yeah, and as much as I hate to sound like I'm down in it or whatnot, which is not necessarily the case, but I assumed that was a coincidence, happy accident that all of these things are aligning as they are right now. So, or maybe there was. I mean, who's to say? Maybe there was some. Maybe Marvel was, because Marvel is. We can say that Marvel is more closely tied to the games than they used to be back in the day, because they used to be
Right.
like, you know what, you got the license, we'll consult on some stuff here and there, but they're a little bit more closer tied now than they were then, thanks to the whole Marvel Games initiatives, which is great to see. So maybe there was a little bit of synergy in, for what's going on now in the comic books and what's, Marvel Cosmic Invasion to a certain point.
To a certain
Oh, no.
extent, right?
Yeah. So, either way, good to see. That being the case, like the further adventures of Nova Centurion, if he gets himself out of the mess that he got himself into at the end of this issue, we shall see what happens. And with that, we will get to the last book that we have in common. We will go.
Hold that thought. Hold
Okay.
that thought. I just flipped to the page where the combat accountant says, "I am perfectly aware of Richard's weakness for dangerous women who hate him."
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Again, still checks out.
Shout out Jen McKay on that one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like I said, you'd have to know his history is to understand that closely. But yes, we're going to go to the last book that we have in common, which we're going into the Ultimate Universe with Ultimate Spider-Man. Number 23.
Ultimate Spider-Man number 23, published by Marvel, is written by Jonathan Hickman, with art by Marco Cacchetto and David Messina. Colors are by Matthew Wilson, and letters are by VC's Corey Petit. Guess what, folks? This is the penultimate issue of Ultimate Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
This volume of Ultimate Spider-Man, possibly this version of Ultimate Spider-Man. We don't know what's coming up next. But as far as we know for certain, this volume of Ultimate Spider-Man is coming to an end with the next issue, and things are getting hot and heavy. They're setting up big confrontations, in the last issue with Peter and Kingpin, Peter and this version of Mr. Negative, with Superior Oxspider and Mary Jane. There's a lot of things that are going to happen, in this last issue, and probably leading into the big crossover event or the big miniseries event that's going to kind of finalize what happens to this version of the Ultimate Universe. With that, I'll hand it off to Roddykat.
Yeah, and Ultimate Spidey is not the only penultimate issue of an Ultimate book that comes out this week, as we will talk about a little bit later. And that is also leading up to something seemingly a big knockdown, drag out fight. But yeah, that the one thing I really noticed right off the bat was like, because I thought I had forgotten something. But yeah, Otto, MJ being pissed off at Otto for reasons that I thought was different than the one that we saw happening in the last issue. But come to find out that was the case. That wasn't the case, and it was like, oh no, it was definitely that thing. To which we do see, a couple of things going on. Like I said, like Agent 70 said.
Hold on to that thought. Hold on to that thought.
Okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt. There was one moment when Richard and Felicia are interacting, and he does something very Tom Holland.
Yes.
I'm like, no, put it back on.
And that was also said right after that. So yes. I'm like, yes, that was that. If that wasn't an MCU moment right there, I don't know what is. Like, what are you doing, kid?
I'm like shaking my head.
That was funny. So yeah, so like I said, a lot of things are happening to a few different characters. Like I said, that we Harry in his Goblin guise is doing the thing, which is kind of slightly parallel to what Peter gets himself to, but Peter gets himself into not necessarily over his head, but going in as we find out with Nova, going in with your emotions hit first, doesn't put you in the right place for things, and Peter found that out here as well. But apparently, just like Cap, he can do this all day. As we find out at the end of this, but Otto being a real ass by double speaking in a way, because like I said, I guess MJ and Peter finds out what Otto did in sending off, in not taking care of something he probably could have taken care of himself,
right? In
having somebody else doing his dirty work, which obviously has MJ and Peter peeved for the right reasons, in which we see again, as Agent 70 said, that moment that he just mentioned with Richard and Felicia before they get themselves into another bit of problems. We get to see the Mole Man just coming for the show, as it were, because what Otto ends up doing is to basically set up another part of the thing that I assume is going to reverberate for the larger universe. Basically, similar to what happened in Ultimate Avengers, oh excuse me, Ultimates, where a signal goes out talking about some things and stuff and things going on. Um, you know, that is probably in conjunction, you know, on a smaller scale with what's going on in Avengers, but not necessarily directly tied. We'll just keep it that way. But yeah, everything else Hydra 70 said that mentioned in conversations and whatnot are happening here, and it's all leading up to the thing. And we should see how this all plays out next issue when everything comes together. I wonder if they're going to make it a double issue.
It's going to be exciting in any, anyway. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We should look at the solicitations, to be honest, to see if they already told us that it's going to be a double issue.
Yeah, I guess we could, but I guess there's reasons why we don't do that, just for a certain amount of surprise.
Right.
But yeah, we could. But that being the case, folks, that is Ultimate Spider-Man, and that ends the book that we have in common. Let's get a little bit of rapid fire.
Alrighty, here we go. Rapid fire review time, folks. Here we go.
I ain't got time to bleed.
First up for me is Absolute Batman number 15, published by DC. It's written by Scott Snyder with art by Jock. Colors are by Frank Martin and letters are by Clayton Cowles. This is one of the big issues published this week. This is the origin story of the Absolute version of Joker. And it's haunting. It's pretty frightening. Mildly even, you can even describe it as horrific. So
I've actually seen that word being used, actually.
Right. If you look at the cover, you can kind of see where, this is all kind of going. And the bottom line here is that it's a really, effective story. People are going to be excited about, listen, people have always been excited about this Absolute Batman book, and, we're about to get a guest star in this Absolute Batman book next month, namely Absolute Wonder Woman. So, that's teased right at the end of this issue. So, this is kind of like a nice little interlude to explain what's up with the Joker. Why this Joker is so much worse and or different from the mainstream DC Universe Joker. Next up is DCKO Wonder Woman vs. Lobo number 1, published by DC. It's written by Joelle Jones with art by Jason Howard, Carrie Nord, and Daniel Bayliss. Colors are by Tamara Bonvillain and Daniel Bayliss, and letters are by Clayton Cowles. I have to confess I am not a fan of the Lobo character. After reading this book, I'm still not a fan of the Lobo character. Bottom line, though, is that this is the matchup in the DC KO tournament, pitting Wonder Woman against Lobo, two essentially evenly matched characters. One character does in fact win out. It's a pretty brutal fight because these are like phenomenally powerful characters, and people will have a good time reading that part where they're breaking multiple pieces of each other and really being brutal in their combat and their combat styles. I just didn't care for it because I don't care for Lobo. But if it floats your boat, good for you. Have at it. Next up for me is all new Spider-Gwen the Ghost Spider number 5. It's written by Stephanie Phillips with art by Vaughn Randall. Colors are by Matt Miller, and letters are by VC's Ariana Marr. I'm a big fan of what Stephanie Phillips is doing with this book, and I've talked about this series before. This is a candidate for Kliq of the Week for me because there are some specific character developments in this issue that build upon the stories that have led up to issue number 5. So this is most certainly the 5th issue in a 5-issue arc, the last issue of this particular story arc, and what would be the last issue of a trade paperback, right? It pays off in that regard, where there's there are great developments where these characters find themselves in different places at the end than they were 5 issues ago, right? it's really cool to see the development of this version of Spider-Gwen post Cosmic Cube, post symbiote costume, post, it's just a lot of great character work on this. And, the cliffhanger at the end of the book, leads you to believe that there are still some great stories coming, right? So there's definitely potential for future good stories to be told, by this creative team moving forward. So this is definitely a candidate for Click of the Week for me. Next up is Amazing Spider-Man number 17. It's written by Joe Kelly with art by Pepe Larraz. Colors are by Marte Gracia, and letters are by our favorite lettering paisan, VC's Joe Caramagna. I've said this before. I am no fan of the Joe Kelly run. This Joe Kelly run on Amazing Spider-Man right now. We've got alternating issues involving one story that centers on Peter Parker and his adventures in space. Spoiler alert. And the other issue, or the alternating issue, focuses upon who is, let's just say, occupying Spider-Man's shoes on Earth, right? Without spoiling everything. But if you've been reading it, it's already been revealed. It's long been revealed what's going on Earth. This is an issue that involves Peter in space. And, there's, I think the strongest part of this issue is that we finally start to understand more about some of those weird kind of childhood flashbacks that have been sprinkled into much of this Amazing Spider-Man run that were a little hard to understand and to try to place into context. And I think we have a better idea now, 17 issues in, what these story drops or story inserts are meant to do, what their purpose is. So this is helping to build, hopefully, and get to the point of this story. It's a bit of a long time coming, right? And that's been part of my frustration with this volume of Amazing Spider-Man. So I'm just gonna stick with it and see where it goes. Next up is Spider-Man and Wolverine number 8. It's written by Mark Guggenheim with art by Kari Andrews, colors by Brian Reber, and letters are by VC's Travis Lanham. I had an uncommonly good time reading this issue because of the interaction between Peter Parker and Logan, James Howlett, as it were. Right? There's some multiversal shenanigans going on. And, this, and our Spider-Man and Wolverine find themselves transported to a different reality where if you're looking at the cover, you can kind of see what mashup we're dealing with, right? That's kind of a new Marvel legend, right? That's probably going to come out. And inside the issue, there are even some more new Marvel Legend potential characters, figures that pop up. Some mashups, as it were. Very much an amalgam style mashup. And, I just, like I said, I had it's been a while since I had this much fun just kind of looking at a book that, obviously it definitely has a tinge of importance to canon, right? Because of the way these two the main leads interact with each other, right? That is probably what carries forward into other books. Whereas what they're doing, maybe it would, maybe it won't. It depends, right? We all know those team up books don't always carry forward, like in the main books or in the regular books that these characters live in, but sometimes they do. And, that's essentially what I'm getting out of this series and specifically in this issue. And last but not least is Infernal Hulk number 2. It's only 2 issues old. The writer on this book is Philip Kennedy Johnson. I've got a little typo in my show notes. The writer on this book is Philip Kennedy Johnson with art by Nick Klein. Pages 19 and 20 have art by Kev Walker. It's very noticeable. The change in art is, certainly obvious. And colors on this book are by Matthew Wilson with letters by VC's Corey Petit. What I told Roddykat about this book is that if you were confused by Infernal Hulk #1 like I was, Infernal Hulk #2 serves as a way to explain what the heck is going on, right? And to help continue to set the stage of what this Infernal Hulk run is going to be about. And I think reading the first 2 issues in close succession is going to prove to be very helpful, right? Because even I had to kind of flip back to issue #1 to see how it all fits together. So I think once you read Infernal Hulk #2, you'll have a better idea, better understanding of what's going on, what the concept is here. And, we get a cool guest appearance by none other than Namor the Submariner. And to prove that this issue is pretty current in continuity and in Marvel canon, the New Avengers show up. The current New Avengers show up. And with that, I'll hand it off to Roddykat.
It's kind of funny you should mention the New Avengers because I was just actually browsing through this week's book as you were talking about Hulk. And that's funny. I got to go back and read it because I didn't get a chance to, but I got to read that because there was a couple of things that popped up there. Either way, I only have a couple of books to go through here, starting off with soundbite here. Defenders of the Earth, Dark Destiny #1 of, actually, I'm not sure. It might be 4 issues, but I'm not entirely sure. This is from Matt Cave. It's written by Dan DiDio, who wrote the previous volume. Art by Alex Sanchez. Colors by Juancho, because the exclamation is there. And letters by Carlos M. Mangual. So this is a continuation of the last volume of Defenders of the Earth, with some things being mentioned that happened from there. Going into this, the art is definitely different because I think I can't remember who did the art there, but it's definitely probably was not Alexandra, if I'm mistaken. Either that or they switched up their style, but it definitely does look different. It's notably different if you go from both volumes. Either way, not that distracting, just noticeable. But the Defenders are on a diplomatic mission to Mongo, partially, I guess, thanks to what happened in the last volume. But as missions tends to go for the crew, it goes kind of poorly. And with things seem to be centering, as it tends to do with this book and the other Flash Gordon book, centered around Flash Gordon in a way. Which, now that I think about it, I need to catch up on. But while the Defenders are doing that, the kids are back home also dealing with a situation that has something to do with the previous volume and has to do with weather they're battling and, a couple of other things. Someone that was supposedly had died in the last volume potentially might be back in a different form. And the kids are off looking for one of the, or looking for their mom, basically, who is also Flash Gordon's wife. So I guess both sides of the Defenders are getting into trouble, as it tends to happen. So if that is of interest to you, you can check out this book here. Although I wouldn't check it out before. I would check out the previous volume before this. You might not necessarily need to, but you might want to. Next up, as we actually didn't get to say, the last book for me, because I added a book that wasn't, that we talked about. Ultimate Black Panther number 23 is my last book. And also, again, like we didn't mention, but as you've heard, this is apparently VC's Corey Petit's week to be the hardest working man in lettering, because he's, I think we have counted no less than 4 books. 5 if you count this one. Or 3, no, well, actually not 4 with this one. Regardless, but the creative team is writer Brian Hill, former guest of the show, art by Carlos Nieto, color artist David Curiel, and the aforementioned letters of VC's Corey Pettit. So I think I might need to go back and read the last issue or 2. I thought I read the last issue. I might have, but what is going on in this particular issue, which is also, again, the penultimate issue of the series, going into, the end of the Ultimate Universe, as we've said before, as I mentioned earlier, and as Agent 70 mentioned earlier, with another book. It is leading up to, well, actually, kind of it's already started with the big knockdown, drag out fight, but it feels like this is some stuff for the future that's going on, or in the future that's going on. But there's been a couple of things with the Ultimate Black Panther book. Once it got into the 20s, it was like, okay, that's weird. And I'm not sure what's going on here, but I'm still kind of halfway following. And we're still on that. So, like I said, once I go back to 22nd and to issue 22 and see if, oh, no, you didn't miss anything. It's just that it's kind of how it's playing out. But excuse me, there's a battle. There's a big mech in cat form. I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it because you need to see that, because that's kind of dope. Hopefully it would be a Marvel Legends figure, but I don't think so. As things tend to happen, may or may not be going all that great for certain folks and whatnot in this battle. And East. And that's all I'll say, because that is a thing that came up multiple times during the course of this issue. And with that, folks, that is the books that I have. Kliqs of the week.
Kliqs of the week. I've got a lot of candidates.
Well, I have a couple, but not as many, because you had a nice little. You had a bigger crop to pick from.
Listen, I had a chance to read last night, and I had a chance to read on the commute home today. Mm-hmm. So I definitely, I definitely do understand having had a little bit of extra time to read. Like I said, I have some surprise candidates like Spider-Man and Wolverine number 8. Which was uncommonly, I just had an uncommonly, I hate to reuse the same phrase, an uncommonly good time.
Okay.
Ultimate Spider-Man is always going to be good, right?
Agreed.
All new Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider, is, not even a pleasant surprise anymore. It's just a pleasant read. It's good to see Stephanie Phillips really giving that book, its own identity and its own direction, now that it's in the Marvel universe proper. Transformers number 27 is almost deeper than you expect it to be, right, in terms of the story. And finally, Absolute Batman number 15 is as the origin story for the absolute version of Joker is really near the top of my list this week. So I've got a ton of candidates that I need to whittle it down. I need to whittle down to now just a really select few. So what do you have?
Transformers, as no surprise, because I did mention it earlier, but also I agree with you on that. There was a whole, I forgot to mention this earlier, but that whole section where Prime is basically counseling the soon to be new / transferred over the Decepticon into the Autobots ranks. that part was like, oh, this is like, yeah, this is an Optimus Prime I can see. This is psychologist Prime here, without the lab coat or whatnot. I can see this happening. But also, surprisingly enough, Nova Centurion #2 is another potential click of the week. What was my other one actually? Turtle. You know what? Turtles actually. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #13. I'm curious where this is going. With a thing or two, I think we could probably see it, but
Yeah, that's a candidate as well. That's a candidate as well. Like everything I read this week was really good. So that's it's kind of silly to just tick off almost everything I read. And listen. I hate to say, let's not forget Nova Centurion and that one line about Richard Rider's propensity for dangerous women who hate him.
Right. And honestly, that was part of it. That gave it the nod. if I'm being honest here, so
it was. Let's just say it was pretty good books that we read.
Oh,
so,
and my last one is Ultimate Spider-Man #23 also, because like we said, most every time we talk about this book, it just continues to be great. So
yeah, this is a tough week. You know what I won't put in though?
What's that?
I won't put in DCKO shots fired. Shots fired.
Yeah.
It's always got to be at least one, right?
Yeah, I would probably circle back and read that though. Just once I catch up with that whole the side stuff on DCKO, because that's not what I've been reading. We also hadn't been reading the Age of Revelation stuff that closely, or the side stuff, I should say. So there was a couple of those that came out this week.
It's oh gosh, like I don't even want to pick it up. That's the worst part.
Yeah, and that's kind of fair, honestly, because one of them is ending. I know Unbreakable X-Men is ending because I saw Gail Simone out there talking about it. But I think a lot of these books are ending.
Right, it's only like a 3-month run. Yeah, exactly. It's very similar to the original Age of Apocalypse, where they published 3 issues or 4 issues of the titles. They gave them different shots at telling different stories before they come up with, I guess, the big finale to kind of not change everything back, but in this sense, or in this case rather, they go back to the regular timeline, or they revert to the regular timeline, as it were.
Right. So. Right. When they go back to the regular timeline and do whatever they're going to do, which we will talk about in a little bit in the news. But also that Spirits of Vengeance book came out this week, and neither one of us read that. What was the other book I was actually, at the very least, I'm going to mention while we're still muddling stuff over, which I think I might actually have mine. Oh, New Avengers, as I said, I was trying to browse through that while
Roddykat's been good about keeping up with that, but we had so much to read this week that we can get to that.
Yeah,
I'm behind on that. So
yeah, it's been a fun read though. So I've been enjoying that one. There's even a fun little bit in this that I did get to see, but about 2 characters talking basically, which in their own particular ways. Something we'll probably talk about a little bit in the news also. The End 2099 #1 came out this week. I don't think either one of us had actual plans to check it out, but it looks curious. So that being the case, I think, do you have yours or
no?
You still need a little bit of time.
Tough. Listen, push comes to shove. If push really does come to shove, I got to go Absolute Batman #15.
Okay,
right.
But you're not there yet.
But it's so tight because, like I said, I had too much fun reading something relatively non-canon. You know what I mean? Like Spider-Man Wolverine #8. Like I can't help but circle back to that and just say, hey, you know what? That was weirdly fun. But I think I'm going to settle on Absolute Batman #15 just because of the magnitude of the story and how heavy hitting it was.
Okay.
So that's going to be my click of the week.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. My apologies if you. Let me shut up because you usually can't hear that. Thanks, filters. So that's Agent 70's pick. I think mine is definitely down to Transformers and Ultimate Spidey. I think at this point, which almost kind of says maybe I should just give it to Nova, because that's kind of how my mind works. But no, I'm gonna go ahead. I mean, also like I said, Turtles is also in there, but
Listen, we had a lot of really good things to say about most of the books we read this week. So, it's a good crop this week. Definitely a good crop.
Yeah, which happens more regularly than you would think with us saying a statement like that, but a lot of times also doesn't.
Right.
Sometimes we've had some.
We're twiddling our thumbs like, what are you gonna pick?
Right. It's like, this was a week. What the hell are we gonna do? Again, that doesn't happen that often, but when it does, oh boy.
Right.
So yeah, I think I am absolutely just gonna go ahead and go with Transformers number 27.
There you go.
Because the book just kind of stands out for me in a couple of different ways as per normal. So not surprised, but yeah, you can't go wrong with too much of anything that we talked about this week. Otherwise, we wouldn't have probably talked about them.
Absolutely.
And speaking of absolutely, no, I'm just kidding. You already said it.
No.
That would have been a nice segue if you hadn't had yours picked out. But
right.
But we are going to go to the news section. But first, an ad read.
Our first ad read of the night is for Blue Apron's meal delivery service. Blue Apron, fresh ingredients and incredible recipes delivered weekly to your door. Skip the grocery store and make incredible meals at home with Blue Apron. Always shipped free right to your home. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can get $30 off your first Blue Apron order. To place your first order with $30 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down to the Blue Apron link and sign up for your first order. Blue Apron through cspn.us. Do it today. And now we get into the news.
Cinematic news we'll do about this time. First up, Marvel cast one mutant. That's it. Not going to get any mutants. But Marvel cast one mutant for upcoming 2026 show, according to this article. And this, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, is a very, very, very deep cut, if this is true. Because I'm just going to hold this off as still rumor, given where it's coming from. But apparently, Byron Bowers is set to portray DeMar Davis, better known as Doorman. That's it for a second. In the upcoming Wonder Man series. Yes, exactly. So apparently the casting introduces the comic book character to the screen for the first time, sparking anticipation amongst fans. I don't know who these fans are. But this is also via the direct. So again, you got to take it for what it is. But it was apparently confirmed according to this article, the casting was confirmed in the winter 2025 issue of Disney's D23 magazine, which teases the character's first live-action appearance. Probably also, if there was an animated version, probably then too, because I don't recall seeing that character anywhere. But if you want to know about this character, I vaguely remember him because Doorman was introduced in West Coast Avengers number 46 in 1989, according to this article.
Good Lord.
Yes. He is an ordinary man who responds to a classified ad seeking costumes adventurers. His powers allow him to become intangible and enable others to pass through walls and structures. He is usually shown in a minimalist black suit with white gloves, boots, a cape, and a mask, featuring a diamond-shaped eye opening, apparently. So this is the part that I think I remember this character from, because according to this, Doorman often works alongside the Great Lakes Avengers, which is
That's
why
what I was. That's what I was thinking.
which is why you would forget who and
That's
what
what
the
I was
hell.
thinking. I almost said, "Isn't that a Great Lakes Avengers guy?"
And you would be right.
Good
So
God,
because this
how
is
the hell did I pull that? That is so crazy.
honestly, with a name like that and given the power set, where else were you going to go?
Yeah.
So you were on the money.
That is wild.
Yes, and of course, if you don't know, the Great Lakes Avengers were the bootleg Avengers that Hawkeye and Mockingbird ended up trying to tutor when they left the Wackos for a time, which
That's
also
crazy.
introduced, technically, I guess at this point, introduced Squirrel Girl to canon, but also folks like Flatman, Mr. Immortal, and Big Bertha, I believe that other character's name was.
Right.
I should not know that, but because I try to forget the Great Lakes Avengers anytime I can, but unfortunately, like I said, Squirrel Girl got her entrance from that, so you kind of can't help it. So yeah, there you go. That was a pull, and we will see this character in, looks like, January 27, 2026, in the Wonder Man live action series. Next up.
Yeah, the series is set to premiere on Disney Plus on January 26, 2026, right? That's just the way, we know it as like that. That's probably like the night of, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I didn't see when, but yeah, most likely. As a matter of fact, I'm going to check right now to see if that is indeed a Wednesday.
Well, the reason why I mentioned that is because in my article, in a new promo for the upcoming Marvel series Wonder Man, Ben Kingsley's character, Trevor Slattery, who we last saw in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, sits down for an interview with TCM's Ben Mankiewicz for a fictional podcast called Bad Actors. The chat doesn't last long, as Slattery is focused on his career, and the host keeps asking about the actor's time in prison. It has an explosive end, and it makes for a fun watch heading into next month's release of Wonder Man. So, Cretton and Andrew Guest, the series is set to premiere on Disney Plus on January 26, 2026.
So here's the funny thing. That last article said January 27th, which, if going by the way Disney Plus does do things, would probably be right, because that's a Wednesday.
Okay.
And the 26th is a Tuesday.
Listen, listen, we'll be alerted to it soon enough, right?
Now, that being said, Geek Triumph is usually not, well, sometimes they have typos and whatnot. They're usually not that far off the mark of things, so I don't know, maybe they should. I hadn't seen, this is like the first probably time I think we might have seen a date.
Right.
Or first or second time, but I just don't remember. Either way, like Agent 70 said, we will absolutely, why is that coming up? Stop. We will see, closer to next month. So yeah, I watched a little bit of this trailer, by the way. I didn't get to the part where it's only like a 2.5 minute trailer. And of course, it's Ben Kingsley doing this thing, but I didn't get to the point where he walked out. Although you kind of, I think if I'm not mistaken, you do see a little bit of it in the beginning of this. So it's kind of funny. Next up, though, Marvel star confirms Avengers Secret Wars role, and that star is Letitia Wright, who apparently had an interview with somebody from Screen Rant, where this article comes from. In which in talking about another movie, and making her directorial debut in that movie, was asked about the next time she's going to be filming for the Marvel stuff, and she says here, I have no clue. All I know is that we just finished Secret Wars, and that was really great. And then she corrected herself by saying Doomsday. I confused the two, before going on to say, that's what I have to film next, Secret Wars. But Doomsday, we finished that, and that was great. So maybe an unintentional slip due to the fact that you're probably doing, maybe some dual filming going on, or kind of going on that we, or who knows? I don't know. We can't say the Marvel snipers could be after her for this, because it's not like we did not know this stuff was coming anyway. So just an intentional slip, I would assume. Don't know. But yeah, there's some other stuff that's in this article that mentions that and also mentions Black Panther 3. But we will leave that for, actually there was another article I forgot to totally put in here about that. But yeah, Black Panther 3 was confirmed to be the next film that is coming on, that's going to happen, which we kind of figured was going to happen anyway. And of course, there's been rumors about that. So we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get a little bit more on outside of that. Next up.
All right. So in an in-depth career talk at the Red Sea Film Festival last Friday, Jessica Alba recalled shooting a humiliating scene in Tim Story's 2005 Marvel adaptation of Fantastic Four, in which her character Sue Storm reappeared completely naked over a bridge. She talks about how it was humiliating. She grew up in a fairly conservative family, and she's fairly modest, and she dreaded that scene for weeks. But still, she has fond memories of playing Sue Storm, in that she loved how the character broke gender stereotypes, and she's a pretty strong woman or female character that she looked up to. Let's see here. Asked whether she had watched Vanessa Kirby's recent interpretation of Sue Storm in Fantastic Four: First Steps, Alba said she's not yet been able to watch the film because her kids dominate what they watch at home. So that kind of echoes most family interactions and situations.
Mm-hmm.
And she talked about pitching a new film with Robert Rodriguez, whom she worked with on Sin City and Machete.
And I'm about to say Spy Kids also, didn't he? But I mean,
No, I don't know.
I think so, but I'm not sure. I'm sure I might be slipping on that one. Either way, it doesn't matter. They have definitely worked together on a few different times. So yeah, that's the thing. Also, it's kind of funny to mention. It's like, I wonder when she did Dark Angel. I'm sure the whole conservative thing was kind of messing with her then, which was one of her first big roles that people knew about her from. But anyway, let's see. Some sad news. Jim Ward dies, who is the voice actor that some may know from either Fairly Odd Parents, Ben 10, Wolverine and the X-Men, which in particular case of this show, and probably Ratchet and Clank, which I totally did not realize he did until I saw the notification on it, where he played Captain Quark, for anybody who knows those games. So yeah, he's let's see, he was 66. He, according to the statement from his agent, he was one of the most loyal and talented clients since the early 80s, says Arlene Thornton. His ability to improvise on the spot, as well as his dead-on impressions, were beyond impressive. He was a one-man comedy show every time he came to the office to do his auditions. We will miss him dearly, and we'll never forget the joy he brought to our lives, and probably money on a daily basis. So yeah, according to this article, his wife Janice told TMZ that he had died on Wednesday, December 10th, due to complications from advanced Alzheimer's. Which, yeah, I understand that. That's rough to be dealing with on both sides of that. So rest in peace. Next up.
All right, so the way this particular news release / article reads from the Star Wars website leads me to believe that on February 9th, 2027, 2027,
Mm-hmm.
we'll celebrate the 50th anniversary of Star Wars with the re-release of the 1977 original Star Wars, back for a limited time in theaters everywhere. It would be a newly restored version of the classic Star Wars theatrical release.
I want to believe. I mean, this is coming from StarWars.com, so exactly. I very much want to believe.
And the way I'm reading this is that it won't be the extended edition.
Correct. Yes, because as you said, the way that read does seem to line up as the case, and I'm hoping that is actually the case.
Right.
And I hope it's a better transfer from what I heard about what they showed off in Britain this past summer.
Yeah,
because I heard bad things about that.
7, yo, damn, son.
Yeah, and put that shit out on physical so we can get that and not those stupid for special editions, please. Thank you.
Oh, special editions, not extended editions. My bad.
No, you good.
Special editions. I'm confusing it with Lord of the Rings, where the extended editions really do matter. So
yeah. When I heard you say that, I was like, yeah, I knew that's what you're talking about. And we'll get in some.
Editions.
We'll get in some Lord of the Rings news here in a second, also. But
there you go.
Actually, I'm going to take these next two.
All right.
Disney has accused Google of copyright infringement on, quote, a massive scale. Cease and desist letter accuses the search giant's giant AI tools, please keep that in mind for this next one, of training on and copying protected works. Imagine the mouse saying that shit. Anyway, so yeah, there's a quote. Google is infringing Disney's copyrights on a massive scale by copying a large corpus of Disney's copyrighted works without authorization to train and develop generative artificial intelligence models and services, and by using AI models and services to commercially exploit and distribute copies of his protected works to consumers in violation of Disney's copyrights, reads the letter, which Variety has reviewed. So apparently there's examples from various Disney properties, including Star Wars and other places and Marvel. So, but as I've been saying in the last couple of days with a Stephen Colbert voice, meanwhile, Disney invests $1 billion in OpenAI in a deal to bring characters like Mickey Mouse to Sora AI video tool. So you can take that last article and this one and put it in a nice little blender because you see what happens. Now, yes, you fight your copyrights, and we know Disney is litigious, but then to turn around and do this is some bullshit. Anyway, Disney is, like I said, $1 billion, OpenAI, the Mickey Mouse, Cinderella, Luke Skywalker, all coming to Sora's video generation tool in a licensing deal that the two companies announced on Thursday. At the same time, the last article happened, and the deal is for a 3-year licensing deal. So you can use a Sora AI to generate and share videos based on more than 200 Disney, Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars characters.
Jeez.
Yes. So that's therein lies that, folks. This is the world we live in. Next up.
That's nuts. Just making your own animation.
For better, for ill, mostly probably for ill.
Right.
And so that's hopefully gonna bite them in the ass when something goes wrong with that.
Oh my gosh. Here comes more AI slop.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, next up, the Supergirl trailer has been released online. Warner Brothers Pictures today took a few minutes out from trying to decide who will own their library next year to release a teaser trailer for June's Supergirl, based on the comic series Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow by Tom King and Bilquis Evely. The movie stars Millie Alcock as Kara Zor-El, the cousin of Superman, last seen walking drunkenly out of the Fortress of Solitude in last summer's Superman. What did you think of the trailer?
Like I told you earlier before the show, I still need to read Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, because at the end of this trailer, they did make a nice little, hey, this is going to be based off, and you should read this book thing off of that. But that being said, I don't know. It's still, even though Gunn's not doing this, it still feels like it has Gunn DNA all over it.
Of course.
Especially with the trailer, because, with the music and whatnot. So, all that said, I don't know. I'm still interested in it, but this weird, drunken, super hot girl, I guess not. I'm not saying she's hot, but I'm just saying, but the stereotype that's going for it. But the drunken hot girl thing that they're doing with this thing is still kind of feels weird to me for Supergirl, even though I don't necessarily have that kind of affinity with the character. But hey, I'm interested to see where they go with it. I assume there's going to be a turn. So I don't know. What'd you think of it?
I thought it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like being unfamiliar with the Woman of Tomorrow book, I may have to read it as well. So, let's see if we can't grab ourselves a review copy.
Right. Actually, we probably should have. Well, I don't know how you keep your archive stuff, but we probably should have those.
Yeah, we might have an older. Yeah, we might have an older copy.
Yeah, or at the very well, I know we did get the singles, but I don't know. There's probably a trade that's been out by now, also. But either way,
right.
There's a couple of quotes in here, real quick.
Oh, this is from 2022.
What?
2021. The series.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's going way back. Okay.
Yeah, it's going a little bit. Yeah, because like I said, I feel like we had intentions of reading it, or one of us did, or maybe it was one of the other guys or something. Somebody had the intentions to read it because we were reading Tom King stuff still around that time.
Right.
It just, but with so much going on, we might not have broke it off. But yeah, Gunn announced earlier in the week that the teaser was coming, and now it's out. And we'll get to that in a second also. But apparently, according to this article, in spite of the proximity to The Flash, to the DC reboot and Supergirl's recasting, Sasha Calle, who played Supergirl in The Flash, has expressed support for Millie Alcott, saying, have so much fun, you look so badass, I love that, just fucking kill it. End quote. So, and there's a couple of other quotes in here from places, but we don't need to necessarily go about that. If you hadn't seen the trailer, go check it out for yourself. See what you think. Next up.
You want me to take it?
Oh yeah. I got it. James Gunn says Supergirl is finally allowed to be messy, while, quote, what like male superheroes have been for a while. So yeah, I think these quotes might have came out right before the trailer. I can't remember. I'm not sure what it says here, or during the I guess when they were together for the unveiling of this trailer, I guess. But so yeah, let's get to the quote here. Yeah, in this incarnation, according to a teaser trailer shown at the hotel event and dropped online today. Kara Zor-El is a universe-hopping party girl in her early 20s, thrown into some intergalactic battles after a particularly self-pitying solitary birthday binge, which, again, if you watch the video, you can kind of catch all of that. The quote is, this is really an anti-hero story. She's got a lot of demons, a lot of baggage coming into this, which is very different forms where Superman is in his life, according to whoever this was. So, but yes. Oh, Craig Gillespie, who is the director. Sorry. And Gunn added, so many times female superheroes are so perfect. She's not like that at all, basically. Like male superheroes have been allowed to be for a while. There you go. And it also mentions a quote from the trailer. So, yeah, there you go. Next up.
Alrighty. Netflix has plans to buy, right? Because I love how the next article actually incorporates information on this. Netflix plans to buy Warner Brothers and HBO Max in an $82.7 billion deal.
Ridiculous.
Right? And a move that would possibly dramatically reshape the entertainment business. Netflix and Warner Brothers Discovery announced an agreement under which Netflix would acquire Warner Brothers, including its film and TV studios, its gaming business, HBO Max, and HBO. Let's see. But there is a bit of a bidding war going on, and Roddykat's going to touch on the other bid or attempted bid in the next article.
Yeah, for some reason, Netflix say, hey, you know what? Amazon bought MGM for some reason. We can go after this other thing that's not being run well. But yes, in the next article, Paramount promises to, and I wish I had put this the other story in relation to this, by the way, but I didn't. So Paramount promises to release 30 plus films annually if it acquires Warner Brothers, because they just put in a hostile bid, according to folks. Does it say here? Oh, and also the new Knives Out movie was mentioned here as well. Well, actually, excuse me. No, it says, this article says that Netflix recently dropped the ball on the theatrical release for Rian Johnson's threequel, Wake Up Dead Man Knives Out Mystery, which I did see something about that earlier on Twitter. But let's see. David Ellison made that promise that I just mentioned. If they bought them, I'm trying to look and see if the bid, which we might not get until things come through, but I could have sworn there was a number touted, and it also talks about the number for Netflix's deal and what Warner Brothers is valued as, according to this article. So, but it also says that the process is expected to take 12 to 18 months to close whoever gets it, regardless. Yeah, we are living some weird time. Oh, here we go. Paramount today announced that it had begun an all-cash tender offer to acquire all of the outstanding shares of Warner Brothers Discovery for $30 per share. An operation, it says, equates to an enterprise value of $108.4 billion.
$1 billion!
Yes. Their play clause for the entire Warner Brothers Discovery, linear networks, and everything else versus Netflix eye for Warner Brothers Studio, theatrical and TV production, and HBO Max streaming service. So I'm just going to put this in here. I love how Stephen Colbert, who, has, who as of next year will not be on a Paramount network because of stupidity, basically was like, well, if they got this kind of money, how come they're letting their best show on the air go? So, which, you know what? Valid. So, but yeah, $108 million. Yeah, I'm also surprised that Paramount has that kind of money. But yeah, this is what we got, folks. I guess if you're gonna bid high, but also the only ones benefiting from it is Warner Brothers. Hopefully they'll get rid of Zaslav, but I doubt it. Next up, though,
crazy stuff, man.
Very much. Oh, I'm good. It's good that you got this one, actually.
Alrighty. Lord of the Rings Extended Editions returns to theaters as Fellowship of the Ring turns 25.
I'm too old for this shit.
Oh my goodness. Are you serious right now?
Very much. Uh-oh, you cut out there for a second.
Precious!
Okay.
In honor of the Lord of the Rings, what's that?
I said that came through clear.
There you go. In honor of the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring turning 25, Fathom Entertainment and Warner Brothers are bringing all 3 extended edition films from Peter Jackson's trilogy back to theaters next year. The films will screen in D-Box presentation from January 16th to 19th, and then in standard formats from January 23rd to 25th. In addition to bringing the extended films back to the big screen, limited edition Lord of the Rings themed concession items will be available at select participating theaters. Can you say popcorn bucket?
Yes, exactly, and it does mention that.
AMC moviegoers can look out for limited edition popcorn buckets featuring maps of Middle Earth, while Regal and local cinema patrons can get buckets with a one-ring design. Fathom and Warner Brothers have also released a new logo and trailer for the trilogy's 25th anniversary. Good God, has it been 20? Oh my God! New Line Cinema first released the 3 Lord of the Rings movies in 2001, 2002, and 2003. goodness gracious.
Mm.
Cumulatively, the series grossed nearly $3 billion worldwide and won 17 Academy Awards. Wow. That's nuts, yo.
Yep. And given that they are saying that it is the extended edition, well, first of all, it's in D-Box, or they're coming out in D-Box first and then standard format. If I have not had the D-Box experience, and I feel like we have talked about this in previous shows about similar formats.
What is D-Box?
D-Box is kind of like basically the you have seats that shake, so it's a little bit more immersive and stuff like that.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
If I remember correctly, yeah, it's like you got the whole shaking seat thing and whatnot going on. So I don't think they have like smell-o-vision and whatnot, but definitely the shaking seats and whatnot.
I gotta look that up. I wonder if that's in New York City.
Oh, probably so. Most likely, if any place is gonna get have D-Box theaters, it's gonna be New York, because major cities is probably going to have it. The more major cities, I guess, is probably going to be the ones that have it. I'm almost fairly certain we do not. So, and yeah, the whole standard formats in January 23rd to the 25th. The funny thing for me about this, if they decided to try to, well, actually, it feels like what I was getting to is like they said extended editions. Like, yeah, that's pretty much all three of them playing back to back, because that's pretty much how long it would take to do all three of those movies, those 2 days or 3 days. Because those extended editions are long, and the theatricals were long, but it doesn't say extended for no reason. It actually kind of funny because I remember, going to the theaters for the first one, getting the theatrical version, then getting the extended version when the extended version came out on DVD, and then repeat the process again for the next one. And I was like, you know what? Let me stop, and I'll just wait until the extended version comes out and watch the next one, because it's inevitable. And I want to say that the Hobbit ones also did a similar thing. I don't remember if there was a extended version for those. I assume so, though.
I was about to say, to answer your question,
Mm-hmm.
there are no D-Box theaters in New York City, within the 5 boroughs of New York City.
That's a shocker.
Right. There is one at a mall in Wayne, New Jersey. Right. That's the closest one. So it's not that close. It's definitely a drive away. So yeah, this is not like as widespread. It's not as widespread as ScreenX. It's not as widespread as what's the other shaking seat one?
Yeah, there's a couple of them, because I know D-Box was before ScreenX. For that I've heard about D-Box before ScreenX, because I think that one kind of came later, or slightly later.
Right, 40X. 40X is definitely in New York City,
which is another one that kind of came later. So
yeah. 40. I was about to say, I've watched movies in 40X. So
yeah, that's the one that they're basically trying to talk now.
No, I watched Civil War in 40X.
What else I'm saying? But they're typing 40X more now than they were.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, that's really, what's funny is that, we were talking about this, and I'm like, wait, I'm looking at the 40X website. There's really only there's 2 theaters in New York City proper, one in Manhattan and two in Manhattan, 3. Yeah, there's three in New York City proper. There's 3 in Manhattan. There's 2 in Manhattan, 1 in Queens.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it for 40. That offer 40X.
But I think I want to say before we can go get off real quick, because D-Box probably had a moment, and probably why there's only the one and where it is probably because if there were any others, they might have folded. Either
they're expensive.
Either by the time Kubrick came, I would imagine, if that was the case, or something, or because I don't know how widely D-Box actually even took off. I just know I had heard about it from places on the internet. I'm like, I'm fairly certain we don't have that around here. So that's the only reason why I even know about D-Box.
Right.
But yeah, that's been the case. I don't know. I feel like Agent 70 would probably hit the theater for this one. I'm not going to speak for him, but he's right here. He can answer that for himself.
Right.
But I'm considering it.
It's a thought. It's a thought because I haven't seen these movies in the theater since they dropped.
Right. Exactly.
So it might be fun to go see them again.
Yeah. Now going back to back days, it might be an issue, but I don't know.
Yeah, I might pick and choose. Like I might want to watch, like I'm particularly fond of some of the memories I have watching at home, Fellowship and Return of the King. Two Towers is definitely something that might be fun to watch in the theaters just to see the Helm's Deep, because that's essentially what you're watching it for.
Right.
So.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So stay tuned, folks. Next up, Sigourney Weaver looking to join live action Tomb Raider series starring Sophie Turner. So yeah, she's talking about her and talking about the Blue People with her time on the Blue People movie. Excuse me. According to Deadline, the iconic actor is in talks to join the action Tomb Raider series at Prime Video. A deal has not been finalized according to this article, but the possibility will have fans imagining Weaver stepping into another massive franchise. I mean, yeah, I think she's pretty much hit all of them with the exception of DC at this point. The series is set to star Sophie Turner as Lara Croft, with Phoebe Waller-Bridge writing and executive producing. Prime Video declined to comment on Weaver's potential involvement, and for now, her role remains a mystery. So whatever her character plays, according to this article, her addition would immensely raise the profile of the series, again, according to this article. So, yeah. Hey, look, I was going to watch it. I mean, I was going to check it out anyway, but if Sigourney Weaver's going to be in here, sure, I want to see what she does. what she's got going on here. Next up.
The Game Awards 2025 had a big Hollywood surprise, as Roddykat mentioned, the debut trailer for the Street Fighter movie. The trailer shows off the film's many characters and their special moves lifted straight out of Capcom's famous fighting game franchise. The cast of the movie, the entire cast, took to the stage at the Game Awards to hype up the crowd and excitement of the film due out in theaters next year, October 16th, 2026. They even made room for a fun joke at rival fighting game franchise Mortal Kombat. Okay.
That happened. I did see that happen. Yep. Because, yeah, I saw that part before I had to come in here, and that's actually part of the reason why I didn't read more than I did also. But I was basically watching the Game Awards a little bit. But, yeah, I think that was the last thing I saw before coming in here. Yeah, that was...
Everybody with 50.
Everybody with 50, correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Was on stage, and there was one guy who probably shouldn't have had the mic as long as he did, was the one who made the joke at Mortal Kombat. And apparently a couple of people that I was watching with don't like whoever that person was for some odd reason. I'm like, okay, I don't even know who this person is, but you have that one. But yeah.
Was that a wrestling person?
Huh? No. It was, what's his name? Andrew Schultz, I believe. Was his name? Was the person? Yes, that was the name of the person. Because they almost, I don't think everybody had, like, there was a few people who had the mic, like Jason Momoa had the mic, Cody Rhodes, and Roman Reigns. Wait, was Jason Momoa? Yes. They had the mic for a second. Then this other guy that I just mentioned had it for a little bit longer than they need to. David Dastmalchian was there, but I don't remember him saying anything. And one of the ladies who was there, I think she might be the one playing, I think it's the one playing Chun-Li. I don't remember her name. Regardless, she said a couple of things. But yeah, it was a whole thing. So, and I didn't get to watch the trailer for this because I think they introduced the trailer right after I left that, because I was wondering why they were there just for the award that they gave out. And now it makes more sense, because you wouldn't have all of them up there if they weren't going to introduce, if this wasn't going to be the thing.
Right.
So it's out there. I saw a little bit of it because that's what I was, as I was mentioning to Agent 70 before in our pregame. I mean, in our pre-show thing. I did kind of peep a little bit of it out there to put it in the lineup. So check it out for yourself, folks. It's weird. I mean, granted, it's got a little bit. You can tell it's got a little bit more budget than the other Street Fighter movie is, but that doesn't necessarily make it that much better.
We'll see. Well, I don't know if I'm rushing out to watch it, but we'll see what the.
I
what people
might.
say about it.
I don't know. I might. Apparently, also as this article says, the car bonus stage, which that's the part I think of the trailer that I did not get to see. I was like, I gotta see that now. That's real dumb. Anyway, next up. Ella Parnell shuts down theories that a romance between Lucy and the Ghoul are coming. You guys need therapy. Now, to be fair, this is for the season 2 of Fallout from Amazon Video. And if you watch the first couple of seconds of that trailer, I see where people can get that idea. But at the same time, you shouldn't really just be jumping to stuff like that because kind of ew. But yeah, that's the thing. Again, Fallout Season 2 is coming in in a few days, now that I think about it. And I don't think we were going to be talking about it here, but nevertheless, it's out there. Next up.
The first trailer for Avatar Season 2 is all about Toph. The beloved Earthbender joins the party when the live-action Last Airbender returns to Netflix next year. Let's see. Season 2 of the show is bringing one of the animated series' most beloved characters in the form of Toph Beifong, so it's no surprise that the first look at it really makes her the star. Okay.
And yes, for anybody who got mildly annoyed by Agent 70's pronunciation of the name, he has not watched the show, so he does not know. And I don't know
Come
at this
at
point.
me, son. Come at me. What am I mispronouncing?
It's Toph.
Toph.
Yes. So just in case anybody gets that, just chill. Like I said, he has to say, we're trying to get him to watch it.
Come at me.
We're trying to get him to watch it because I think it's a show he would watch. I keep saying that, but I know he's probably actively staying away from it for that reason. like I don't know that, like I don't know him that well, but yeah, the live action Avatar thing is coming back. I still hadn't seen the first season because live action stuff has a stink of it on it, but I hear this one was actually fairly decent. But yeah, next up. Whoops. There we go. Thank you. This is the beginning of a new age for, says an Avatar The Last Airbender star, who says farewell to an official sequel for now. So, let's see. The stars of Avatar The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra open up about the sequel series' iconic finale. That is the finale of Korra, I assume. She says that a harmonic convergence, which it was going to happen no matter what, has changed something fundamentally in the world that she can't control. This is from Janet Varney, who played the voice of Korra from Legend of Korra. This is the beginning of a new age. It is an intense way to end the season. So that's kind of a spoiler for me because I hadn't watched all of Korra, but that's fine because I'm gonna watch it anyway. So, in true Avatar family, those thing. The finale featured a confrontation between the Avatar and probably who is the big bad of the series or something. I don't know. Again, I have not watched the whole of Korra to know, but I'm just going to skip past part of that by saying this article kind of goes on and also mentions Avatar Seven Havens, which is also coming up, which I still going to assume is kind of a sequel, but like in a far-flung future or something. We don't know. But given by what was just said in this article about the end of Korra, yeah, it seems likely. Next up, though, we get into a little bit more into Anime Corner.
Kind of, because we're talking live action here.
Yeah,
that's always the sticky part.
Mm-hmm.
Sakamoto Days live action film new teaser trailer announces April 29th, 2026 release date. The clip introduces the fat Sakamoto for the first time. So the official website for the upcoming live action film adaptation of Yuto Suzuki's Sakamoto Days manga series released that new teaser trailer announcing the film's release date in Japan of April 29th, 2026. The clip also revealed for the first time the fat appearance of the protagonist, Taro Sakamoto, played by Ren Meguro, a Japanese male idol group Snowman member. He spent about 4 hours every day applying special makeup to transform into the plump figure. Very quickly, let's see here. The original Sakamoto Days manga series has been serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump since November 2020, with 25 collected volumes in Japan and 19 translated and released into English. The anime adaptation premiered in January 2025, with Netflix streaming the series.
Yeah,
Listen,
I need to watch that.
Because I've seen. Oh wait, you haven't watched it at all?
No, I read a little bit of the manga, actually.
Gotcha. I've watched the series. I have not touched the manga yet.
Right. So, and I was kind of hoping.
I'm sorry. I was just going to mention. Hold on to that thought. There are actually quite a few people cosplaying Taro Sakamoto at the various cons I went to last year, both San Diego and New York.
Yeah, not surprising. Not surprising at all.
Not last year. This year. My God. Well,
Right.
This past year. Jesus.
As I said on somewhere else earlier, this has been a long year that feels like 2 years. But yeah, what I was going to say was, despite the fact that this article comes from Crunchyroll, I was expecting this article to end with, oh, by the way, you can read Sakamoto Days on the Crunchyroll manga app. But sadly, no. So next up, you should probably have this one, but I'm going to take it anyway. The K-pop Demon Hunters and Vans collaboration is iconic according to this article, but who isn't surprised? So yeah, K-pop Demon Hunters has collaborated with Vans shoes, with shoes for adults, big kids, and little kids. Huntrix, Saja Boys, Tiger, and Bird are all represented on the classic slip-on, old school V, and skate high shoes, I assume. The classic Vans checkerboard is present on the skate high and classic slip-on designs for kids. And K-pop Demon Hunters inspired patterns are on the old school. There are only 2 designs for adults and kids, with the majority of options available for big kids. You can check them out in this article. Actually, I just got them up on if you're watching the video version, so you can check them out for yourself. So there you go. Oh, and yes, and they even have the Huntrix with the proverbial ramen shot. So of course you got that one. I still haven't watched it yet, by the way. So hey. But that's the shot I keep seeing all over the place.
To mirror what Roddykat said earlier, we're getting to a point where Roddykat may be actively avoiding watching K-pop Demon Hunter.
You know what? Originally, yes, but actually, no. I am very much coming closer to actually watching this, and it's not for the fact that I'm doing attention. It's just I don't know. I was trying to get around some other stuff before I hit it. So. But no, it's going to happen. I see it's going to happen. I already know. So, but yes, the K-pop Demon Hunters and Vans collection retails between $45 and $85. The shoes goes on sale at Vans locations worldwide. Actually, they are already on sale as of Friday, December the 5th. And they're also online at Vans.com at this point as well. So they're already out there if you are so inclined. Next up.
Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider manga is set to make its English debut from Titan Publishing. Also announced School for Wizards Old Enough to Learn Magic and More. So if you've been enjoying the anime adaptation of Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider, you'll soon get to check out Yokusaru Shibata's original manga in English. In an exclusive reveal with Anime News Network, Titan Manga announced plans to publish the series along with the debut of 2 other titles for 2026. It's due out July 14th, 2026.
Weirdly enough, by name, the 2 mentioned are ones I would be interested in, but I need to see a little bit more about it. That would be the Tojiro Wants to Be a Kamen Rider and Wizard School for Wizards Old Enough to Learn Magic, which what is still going on with these long ass titles? Now, granted, this is not as long as some of the other ones I've seen, but ridiculous.
Yeah, so this stuff is these are streaming on Crunchyroll right now.
Wait, are these? Oh, I think these were the manga, not.
No, the adaptation.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
The anime streaming on Crunchyroll.
Oh yeah, it is. Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider is on Crunchyroll. I got you. I might have to check that out. Next up, we get into a little bit of comic book news.
Alrighty.
DC just unlocked 35,000 plus comic books for millions of new readers. So basically, they're opening up to in other companies. Those countries, being Belgium, the Czech Republic, Denmark, Finland, the Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, and Sweden. Even the readers in the UK are getting a big bump, or a little bit of a bump. So DC UI is now accessible through web browsers in the UK. Which is apparently marks the first time fans outside of the U.S. can use the service beyond mobile and tablet. Fans in these regions who subscribe to the Ultra tier can dive into a library of over 35,000 English language DC comics, along with the full DC Go lineup, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, congratulations to folks in all of those countries. You too can not actually use the service. Actually, you're getting a stripped down service because the original service was better than. Let me stop. I'm going to shut up. But it's probably a halfway decent service. I had to go back to it, but yeah, it is a halfway decent service if you like DC. I'm just going to say it like that and shut up. Next up.
A few months ago, Skybound announced the Invincible Omnibus Volume 1 hardcover would include Marvel Team Up number 14. Invincible is a historic team up with Spider-Man, the first time a trade collection had done so. Yesterday, at the time of this particular broadcast, Skybound, in collaboration with Marvel Comics, announced a reprint of Marvel Team Up number 14 as a singular issue from Robert Kirkman, artist Corey Walker, and colorist Dave McCaig, which will swing back into comic shops on Wednesday, March 4th. This new reprinting is now the first time fans can purchase the iconic issue in standalone form since its original release. The issue is also going to feature variant covers by legendary Spidey artists, including Spidey legends Todd McFarlane, Eric Larson, Ryan Otley, Mark Bagley, and Alex Saviuk. Oh, that's pretty cool. I own this comic. I got it when it came out.
Cool. I think I've read it, but I don't think I own it. So you decipher that one for yourself, folks.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's just like Marvel Team Up number 14, $3.99 when which that's restraint. Wednesday, March 4th, as Age of 70 said, and it's going to be digital all over the place. So cool. Next up, though, so we talked about this earlier, but Marvel. Well, we didn't talk about this earlier, but I mentioned it earlier. Marvel. There's a preview for The End 2099 #1 from Marvel. And the line here is, one future ends, another begins, $30.99. And yes, there was an exclamation there. So let's see, from the ashes of the Age of Heroes, a new generation of vigilantes like Spider-Man 2099, Nova 2099, every other thing 2099 emerged from in the dystopia that followed for the bright new future, a future that has come to an end in the face of Abyssius, a horrifying fusion of, brace yourself, folks, null infected Galactus.
Oh, yeah.
Which is kind of funny, also, coincidentally, given a similar thing happening in Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Not necessarily a fusion, but Galactus being taken over by, some would argue, a lesser being. But, hey, it is what it is. Comic books. So, yeah. Anyway, it goes on from there. December 10. Well, it's out this week, as we mentioned anyway. Like I said, neither one of us has had a chance to read it, but if you were watching the video version, you can see the null infused. Oh no, I'm sorry. That is the herald of this. I assume this is the herald of Null Galactus that we are seeing on this page. Because at first I thought, wait, what happened to T-Rex? But yeah, here we go. And there is the null infused Galactus on the next photo, which probably could very well be a Marvel Legends figure at some point. We'll see. Next up.
Inglorious X-Force unveiled old Tim Seeley X-Men characters in 2026. Okay. Inglorious X-Force #1 launches in January, spinning out of X-Men Age of Revelation with new mysteries. Tim Seeley returns to old X-Men characters like Unveil, revisiting mutants from past storylines. Cable leads Helverine, Archangel, and Boom Boom in pursuit of a hidden agenda and secret enemy. Expect appearances by obscure mutants and connections to Age of X-Men and Undeadpool stories.
So again, sounds like a threat, but okay. Next up, Marvel's X-Men step into a new age with Shadows of Tomorrow. So yeah, Age of Revelation is coming to an end. We know this with the Age of Revelation finale #1 by Jed MacKay and Ryan Stegman. And the X-Men are reeling from their 10-year hop into the future. Cyclops has seen a grim future. I don't know if I should be reading this or not, but that's okay. A world ravaged by the X virus, an extremely infectious pathogen that is not only affects mutants, but also threatens the entire world. Now, in the present day, Cyclops knows the devastation it causes will somehow be linked to one of his own team members. The X-Men will come back this January, but they won't be the same team. They will have to deal with the Shadows of Tomorrow to forge a new future. And
well, now you at least know what the gist is.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Go forth. Marvel is giving fans a new look at covers for issues on sale in March, including a special milestone issue of Uncanny X-Men featuring the Marvel Comics' universe debut of Marvel Rivals. Oh no! Marvel Rivals Galactica, the cosmic-powered daughter of Galactus. That's funny. Well, it was going to happen at some point. And I guess that makes sense because Uncanny is who's going to handle that but Gail Simone. Fans will see a return of ongoing series like Uncanny X-Men by Gail Simone and David Marquez, Wolverine by Saladin Ahmed and Martin Coccolo, X-Men by Jed MacKay and Neville Diaz, and new issues of upcoming ongoing series like Generation 23 by Jody Hauser and Jacopo Camagni, Wade Wilson Deadpool by Benjamin Percy and George Shaw, and the aforementioned Inglorious X-Force by Tim Seeley and Michael Starr. So yeah, and apparently there's going to be two new series, Storm's Earth Mightiest Mutant, which we have talked about previously, by Morero Ayodele and Federico Mancini, Magic and Colossus, and by Ashley Allen. Actually, I think we talked about all of these. Ashley Allen and Herman Peralta, and a new solo series for Cyclops by Alex Pagnadel and Roger Antonio, and a Rogue series by Erica Schultz and Luigi Zagaria. So, and of course, yeah, we also talked about this, X-Men United by Evel Ewens and Tiago Palma. Also the Moonstar series by Ashley Allen and Eduardo Arduino. And X-Men Annual #1, which is art focused annual led by Ryan Stegman, and Iceman Omega #1, according to this article, highly demanded printing of Marvel's 2025 Stormbreaker Luciano Vecchio's acclaimed Marvel vs. Iceman Infinity comic. So there you go. You got solicitations for all of these in this article and covers as well. So have at it. Next up.
Interesting stuff.
Oops. Yeah.
Interesting stuff. I'm kind of disappointed that the Storm series is now reduced to a mini series.
Yeah. We'll talk more about that at some other points.
Right. Marvel's Next huge event is already underway, and Wolverine and Captain America hold the keys to Armageddon. Learn about Wolverine Weapons of Armageddon #1 and Captain America #8, 2 Armageddon lead-in issues coming this March. Armageddon won't officially explode until this upcoming summer, but the road to destruction has already begun unfolding across titles. So we get a reveal of 2 major chapters arriving in March: Wolverine Weapons of Armageddon #2 and Captain America #8. The event is spearheaded by writer Chip Zdarsky. And, we're getting some long-buried secrets tying together Wolverine, Nuke, and newcomer Dave Colton erupting, sending Logan's pursuit of a vanished super soldier into chaos. Okay. Tying into, current events in Captain America.
Mm-hmm. And on sale... March 25th. I don't know if you said that. Well,
March 4th for Cap and March 25th for Wolverine.
Right. So there you go. Next up, Marvel celebrates 60 years of Black Panther with new variant covers, featuring Storm, Spidey, and more. So wow, 60, huh? So yeah, Black Panther turns 60 next year, marking 6 decades of one of Marvel's most influential and forward-thinking heroes. According to this article, along the celebratory Black Panther Anniversary Special #1 one-shot, which will be packed with new stories from legendary creators, Marvel is also rolling out a line of Black Panther variant covers illustrated by its current class of Stormbreakers. Debuting across select titles beginning in February, of course. These variants spotlight T'Challa alongside some of Marvel's biggest icons, from Spider-Man to the Fantastic Four, and of course, Storm. The collection highlights multiple eras and looks for the character, including his upcoming Black Panther Intergalactic Q Beastie Boys, the redesign, and the Ultimate Universe interpretation. Each cover reflects a different facet of Black Panther's legacy while showcasing the unique artistic styles of Marvel's top rising talent. Let's see. So the Stormbreakers lineup includes Alessandro Cappuccio, Netho Diaz, Simone Di Maio, Jonas Scharf, Jeff Shaw, and Luciano Vecchio. Excuse me. So yeah. It goes into the Stormbreaker program. We ain't got to look into that, but you can check out the variant covers in this article and me scrolling through them right at this moment on the video version. Next up.
Next year, Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord is a new animated series set after the events of the final season of Star Wars The Clone Wars, that brings back Darth Maul. In March, Marvel Comics will pave the way for the Disney Plus series with Star Wars Shadow of Maul, a 5-issue prequel series written by Marvel superstar Benjamin Percy, who wrote the Sith Lord in last year's Star Wars Darth Maul Black, White, and Red, and drawn by Madibek Musabekov. Okay. The upcoming animated show, Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord, will reveal Maul's plans to rebuild his criminal syndicate on Janix as a half spider guy. Okay. I added the half spider guy part.
Which I assume is going to explain why we saw him in... No, it won't. I was about to say, I guess it does. Explain why we saw him at the end of Rogue One.
Right.
Or not Rogue One, Solo. Not Solo, right. Excuse me. Yeah.
Star Wars Shadow of Maul #1 is on sale March 4th.
Yeah. And obviously before his last turn in Rebels.
Right.
So, or we would hope his last turn in Rebels. The way they brought him back a few different times is real ridiculous. Anyway, a full remake of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 is, quote, on the roadmap, according to Lucasfilms, although there's some just as much exciting news in the next article. But a legal dispute over canceled DLC for Aspire's Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 remaster has unexpectedly opened the door to something far more exciting, and not the thing that I was just about to mention that's going to be mentioned next. Newly surfaced deposition details revealed that Lucasfilm Games has been quietly planning a full remake of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 with modern graphic gameplay updates and, at long last, a fully realized ending. According to Douglas Riley, VP of Lucasfilm Games, the team has been exploring a fully updated version of KOTOR 2 under the name Juliet. Okay, interesting. His deposition was referred to in a new game file report. Don't know who that is, and I probably should not have mentioned it. And gives us the clearest explanation yet of what Lucasfilm Games envisioned. So I'm just going to take this as a rumor/report and keep it pushing. But I don't doubt that they're trying to do a remake of Knights of the Old Republic 2. Hell, I'm surprised there's not another remaster of 1 coming. So, but next up,
Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic revealed with first trailer and an exclusive interview announced that the 2025 Game Awards, the new role-playing game from Archanaut Studios and Lucasfilm Games, tells an all-new story helmed by accomplished game director Casey Hudson. So in the game, Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic, step into the role of a Force user on a journey through a galaxy on the edge of rebirth at the end of the Old Republic. Okay.
Yeah. Knights of the Old Republic was a great game. I granted I have not finished it. And Old Republic, the MMO, is also pretty good, but it kind of has to go away from that stuff because of licensing thing, whatever. I don't think I've played KOTOR 2 ever. But this is another thing that came out during the Game Awards earlier, and I'm kind of excited for this, especially from what it looked like, even though we didn't really get any actual gameplay. But also, I'm excited because, one, Casey Hudson, like I said, who, longtime writer, director, whatever the case may be for game stuff. Maybe they'll give him Mass Effect because Lord knows EA ain't doing shit with it. But yeah, the KOTOR games were pretty good with them around it. So hopefully. Last but not least, Marvel Legends Uncanny Spider-Man Nightcrawler from the Spider-Man Wave 2025 has been reviewed and has some images here. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that this is a figure.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like we probably made the joke when this series was out. And at least I hope we did, because we did. Yeah, our average it continues to be pretty good then, if that's the case. So yeah, here's some pictures of the Wolverine and Spidey costume. I guess with wait, hold on, is this a 2-pack or something, or is this just okay?
No, it's just Nightcrawler. Yeah, it's just
Nightcrawler. Yeah, they just have a Nightcrawler figure along for the ride.
Right.
Yeah, and a Spidey figure along for the ride, so for comparison. So yeah, you see Kurt in his Spidey gear, which apparently looks the same as his Nightcrawler, at least tail wise, except for different coloring.
Pretty much.
And the helmet. So, you think about getting this or no?
Probably not. Probably not. I definitely don't. Unless it means something to me, I definitely don't always, kind of dive into the alternates.
Sure.
So.
If you're watching video version, you can see the packaging right there and the backside of it, and apparently the other figures in the wave you can see on the back of the box. And it looks like I'm assuming that purple thing is a BAMF effect, as opposed to goo or something. But yeah, there you go, folks. There's that figure, and that, folks, is it for us for the news section. Can we get one last ad read?
Our last ad read of the night. Keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Visit cspn.us and click the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel, or Marvel Legends. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment that helps us keep the Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. If you shop at Amazon often, bookmark the link or add it as your homepage so that you can help the CSPN each time you order. We thank you for your support. Amazon.com, through CSPN.us. Do it today.
All right, folks, that's it. We're going to speed on here because it's mad late. Yeah, we'll be back next week. Same shenanigans, same time with another batch of books because,
we're leading up to Christmas. So,
yes, we are.
We're probably not going to be podcasting on Christmas, but, we'll find some time soon after.
No, I believe, the 25th is indeed on the Thursday. So yeah, we can safely say we will not be broadcasting that day, but probably we'll see if we can schedule in something for that weekend. If it works out that way.
Right. And be on the lookout for more video gaming.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Oh, Agent 7, I need to show you the list. If I have not shown it to you before, but we'll talk about that after the show.
Alrighty.
But with that, folks, the one thing I totally forgot to mention at the top of the show, which probably should have been the first thing that I mentioned, is this is the 650th episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. I'm just saying. And if by some weird event I end up clipping this part out and put it at the beginning of the show, then you'll know something. But if not, then hey, it's the hero nonetheless. So I'm just saying, we've been here. Like I said last week, we've been here. We're going to continue to be here. And, the special thing planned was me just saying that, honestly, because we didn't have anything else.
Right.
But yeah, yes. I don't know too many other podcasts that has the length that we have. But then again, I'm also
the continuity. Yeah.
Yes. So hey, you know what? It's been great doing this. We're continue to be good to do this. But it's wild to get to.
Yeah. Listen. Thank you to PCN_dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, of course, at TimDog98 who started the whole thing. So we continue to keep it up. And we're happy to keep on keeping on. As long as this stays fun and that's what it does, because you can hear it from what we talk about. We're always looking at different things to kind of not even keep it fresh, but just stay excited.
Yeah, and one of them was just dropped in our lap because of COVID,
right?
Unintentionally. So
right.
So like I said, hopefully we keep talking about that, but hopefully we can kind of get back to that without anything major happening to cause it to happen. But
right.
So that being the case, folks, we will be back next week. I have been your host, Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at Newsers on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. Agent_70, your other co-host, you can find on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads. Shout out to TimDog98 and PCN_dirt. Even though they're not here, but they're here in spirit. I mean, they are here in actuality, but you know what I'm saying? They're just not here on the show.
Oh, of course. Yeah, exactly.
Let's clarify that.
Yeah, exactly. They're always with us. They are always with us.
Yes. They're off doing their own things, and bless them for it. You can find this here podcast on the Cold Slither Podcast Network. That's CSPN.us.
Do it today.
You can also find us on your podcast place of choice, whether it be Google Play, Google Play, or whatever Google Podcast is calling itself, Apple or Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Cold Slither Podcast Network's SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that helps people find our show.
Yep. All right. This has been the Comic Book Chronicles. Peace.
Peace. 650, son.
My time is up. Peace out to Brooklyn.
Good evening, Fred. Would you believe it's Dr. Doom?
What's on your evil mind?